She walked into our house holding his hand. Not late at night. Not trying to hide. Broad daylight. My wife, Jessica, walked into our home with another man, laughing, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor like this was some casual date night. I was standing in the kitchen with a coffee mug in my hand. Stunned. Frozen. I thought she had gone to her work conference 3 states away. That's what she told me 2 days ago when she kissed me goodbye. But here she was, back early. And not alone. The guy with her? Tall, cocky, mid-30s with sleeves of tattoos and the kind of smirk that made my blood boil. He didn't even look at me like I mattered. Jessica finally noticed I was there. "Oh," she said casually, like I was a roommate. "You're home." I didn't say anything. Just stared. She let go of his hand, dropped her designer bag on the floor, and took a deep breath like she was about to give me some award-winning TED Talk. "This is Brandon," she said, motioning to the dude now comfortably leaning against our kitchen counter. "He's part of something I need." And I didn't want to lie anymore. I blinked. Once. Twice. "You didn't want to lie?" I asked, my voice low. She stepped forward. "Look, Mark, I've been thinking about this for a while. We've been boring. Stuck. You don't touch me anymore. You don't listen. I need something exciting. Something real. And this guy?" I asked, still staring at Brandon like I was calculating if I could break his jaw in one punch. Jessica had the nerve to smile. "It's just for 6 months. An open marriage. That's all. I just need time to explore. Then we can get back to normal." Normal. This woman, who once begged me to never leave her side, was now standing in our kitchen, pitching me an open marriage while her lover picked at the fruit bowl. She actually walked over and kissed me on the cheek. "I hope you'll understand. It's not personal." Not personal? I stood there, adrenaline spiking, jaw clenched so hard I thought I'd break a molar. I looked at her and saw not the woman I married, but a stranger. Cold. Ruthless. Selfish to the core. I didn't yell. I didn't punch a wall. I didn't scream. Instead, I nodded slowly. Like a man accepting a business deal. "Sure," I said. 6 months. You go have your fun." She smiled again, relieved. Thought I was okay with it. She didn't know I was about to burn everything down. Later that night, I watched them from my car, parked across the street from the condo she said she'd be renting for her little adventures. Watched them open a bottle of wine through the window. Watched her laugh and straddle him like I never existed. And that's when something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to play the loyal husband. I wasn't going to wait. Jessica had made her move. She thought I'd cry, beg, grovel. She didn't realize, this wasn't heartbreak. This was war. I didn't sleep that night. Not a second. While Jessica played house with her tattooed side toy, I sat in my car across the street and mapped out my next moves like I was planning a heist. Only this time, the score wasn't money, it was my dignity. Let her think she's in control. That's the first rule. Let the enemy believe they've already won. By 3 a.m., I was back in our house, my house, packing a small duffel bag. Just the essentials: laptop, documents, a few clothes. No need to make a scene. I left the wedding photo on the shelf. Let it collect dust with the other lies. I wasn't leaving out of weakness. I was repositioning. Strategizing. If Jessica wanted 6 months of chaos, she'd get it. But not on my terms, on hers. Because from this moment forward, I was done reacting. I was going to act. The next morning, I called my lawyer. "Mark, this is sudden," he said. "You sure you want to file?" "Not yet," I replied. "But I need options. Contingency plans. And I want a copy of everything she's entitled to. And everything I can take away." He sighed, probably thinking I was just another guy with a bruised ego. But this wasn't ego. This was survival. And I wasn't about to let a woman who brought her affair partner into our home walk away with half of my life. The days that followed were a masterclass in performance. I smiled when she called. I laughed at her texts. When she came back to the house to check on things, I cooked dinner like nothing was wrong. Let her think I was adjusting. Let her believe I was some broken, submissive man who'd just wait for her to come back from her little pleasure escapade. But behind the scenes, I was gathering. I placed a voice recorder under the couch cushions. Installed a tiny camera in the hallway mirror. Accessed her cloud account and downloaded every synced photo and message she'd stupidly left open. And oh, she left plenty. Turns out Brandon wasn't the only one. There was a Jake. A Connor. Even a Madison, yes, her so-called best friend. Apparently, open marriage really meant open doors, no standards. She wrote things I'll never forget. Described nights in graphic detail. Laughed about me. Called me boring Mark. Stable Mark. Safe Mark. That part hit different. All those years I spent building a life with her, sacrificing, saving, working long hours, putting her dreams ahead of mine, reduced to a punchline. But it didn't make me cry. It fueled me. I started building a dossier. Every name. Every message. Every photo. Screenshots. Videos. Voice notes. My plan was simple: wait, gather, then hit her where it hurts most, her reputation, her comfort, her financial cushion. And I'd already chosen the perfect time to strike, day 180. Halfway through week 3, she texted me. Hey babe. Hope you're doing okay. Miss you sometimes. Sometimes. I nearly laughed out loud. But I replied, I'm doing well. Take your time. We'll talk when you're ready. She had no idea that I was ready now. That every smile I gave her was a mask. Every friendly gesture, a setup. I wanted her to feel safe. Because when people feel safe, they stop looking over their shoulder. And that's exactly when you hit them. In her mind, she had everything. Freedom. Control. A husband too weak to fight back. But in my mind, I had one goal: make sure that when she came crawling back, she'd find nothing left. Not a marriage. Not a house. Not even me. Only the consequences. By week 5, Jessica started slipping. I could tell by the way she texted more often. Hey, just checking in. You doing okay? Then the late-night messages started, ones that clearly came from guilt, or maybe boredom. Either way, I didn't answer right away. I left her on read. Hours. Sometimes a full day. The silence was doing its job. She'd chosen chaos, but chaos gets lonely. And I knew it was only a matter of time before her perfect little experiment began to fall apart. These dudes she was fooling around with. Guys like Brandon, Jake, Connor, they were after one thing. Once that novelty wore off, they'd be out the door faster than they came in. I just had to stay quiet. Cold. Calculated. At work, no one knew what was happening. I didn't want to be the guy known for getting humiliated by his wife. So I played it cool. Suited up. Smiled through meetings. Hit the gym harder than usual. That was my therapy. Throwing around weights like I was throwing every memory of her out of my body. Then came the real turning point. I got an anonymous message, burner email. Subject line: you deserve to know who she really is. Attached was a video. Security footage. Jessica. In a club. With Brandon. But not just dancing. She was all over him. Grinding, grabbing, laughing like a teenager on spring break. Except this teenager had a wedding ring tucked in her purse. But it got worse. Another guy entered the frame. Not Brandon. A third one. He pulled her in, and, God help me, she didn't resist. The clip cut just before anything explicit, but I got the message loud and clear. My wife was for the streets. I sat there in my apartment, fists clenched so tight I felt the blood leave them. My heart didn't even race anymore. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't hurt. I was numb. There was no us to save. Just ashes and memories I no longer respected. She wasn't coming back to a broken marriage, she was walking into a trap. And I was nearly done setting it. The next week, I started planting seeds. I met with a real estate agent and casually mentioned I might be downsizing. I took my name off the joint bank account and opened a separate one she couldn't see. Transferred my paycheck. Clean, quiet, invisible. I filed for a legal separation but didn't tell her. I updated my will. Switched my health insurance beneficiaries. Pulled my investment accounts into my name only. She wouldn't feel it now, but the impact was coming. And when it hit, it'd knock the wind out of her. Then something unexpected happened. Jessica showed up at my apartment unannounced. No warning. No text. Just a knock at the door at 9 p.m. I opened it to see her in an oversized hoodie, no makeup, looking more human than I'd seen her in months. "Can I come in?" she asked. I let her. Why not? I wanted to hear what she'd say. What lie she'd serve me this time. She walked in, looked around, took a deep breath like she was about to deliver another speech. But her voice cracked. "This isn't what I thought it would be," she said. "It's not as fun as it seemed. I miss you, Mark." I stared at her. No emotion. She moved closer, lightly touched my arm. "I thought we could try again. Maybe sooner than 6 months." I paused. Looked her dead in the eye. "I thought you needed freedom," I said. "Excitement. Connection." She swallowed hard. "I did. But it's not the same without you." "Of course not," I thought. "Because now the circus is over and the clowns have left, and you're standing in the wreckage you created." I didn't say that. Instead, I nodded slowly. "Let's talk," I said. "But not tonight. Tomorrow." She smiled, like she'd won. She had no idea tomorrow was the beginning of her fall. She thought I was warming up to her again. Jessica walked out of my apartment that night with a soft smile, probably thinking she still had that manipulative charm that used to work on me when we were younger. Back then, a few tears and a promise were enough to make me forget. But now? Now I saw right through her. The next day, I didn't call. I didn't text. I let her sit in silence all morning and early afternoon. By 6 p.m., she texted again. "Hey. Are we still going to talk tonight?" I left her hanging. At 8:17 p.m., I replied with one word, "Come." She arrived at 9 on the dot, this time dressed like she was trying to look humble, no makeup again, oversized hoodie, her hair in a messy bun like she was trying to look like the version of herself I used to fall for. She sat down on the couch, her knees pulled up, looking nervous. "So," she started, "I've been doing a lot of thinking." I stayed quiet. Let her fill the silence. "I made a mistake." "A lot of mistakes," she admitted, voice trembling just enough to seem genuine. "I thought I needed excitement. I thought I was missing something. But all I did was ruin the only person who ever really loved me." That would have hit hard 6 weeks ago. Now, it was just words, cheap, convenient timing. The same mouth that told Brandon she loved his tattoos and that Connor was so much more spontaneous than Mark was now trying to crawl back into my life like none of that ever happened. I leaned forward, my voice calm. "Tell me everything." She blinked. "What?" "Tell me the truth. Every detail. Every guy. Every message. Everything you did. If you want forgiveness, start there." Her face dropped. That was the first time she realized this wasn't going to be easy. I don't remember everything. I gave her a dead stare. She fidgeted. There was Brandon, yes. And I kissed Connor. There was one night with Jake, but it didn't mean anything. And Madison and I, well, it was a weird moment, not really what it looked like. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, and I guess I went to that party with Trevor, but I didn't touch him. I swear. Trevor? I asked, feigning confusion. She froze. Gotcha. Because I hadn't mentioned Trevor. I didn't even know about Trevor. But she just told on herself, slipped up, confessed to something she thought I already knew. Rookie mistake. That's when I stood up. I walked over to the cabinet, pulled out a folder, and dropped it on the table. She stared at it like it might explode. What's this? She whispered. Everything, I said. Screenshots. Video. Text logs. GPS data. Every single night you said you were at yoga, at Madison's, at work late. It's all in there. She didn't touch it. Just looked at me like she'd seen a ghost. I haven't served the papers yet, I continued. But they're ready. And so is my lawyer. And before you try to cry, or beg, or say this was a mistake, just know, Jessica, you didn't make one mistake. You made dozens. And you knew what you were doing every time. Tears welled up in her eyes. And for once, I didn't care. She reached for my hand. I pulled it away. You said 6 months, right? I asked. Good. Because you've got 4 left. And in those 4, you're going to lose everything you thought you could crawl back to. She started crying. Too late. I'll give you 1 more week, I said coldly. 1 week to move your things out of the house. After that, you're trespassing. She opened her mouth to speak. Don't, I snapped. You had your fun. Now it's my turn. And with that, I walked to the door and opened it. She didn't move at first. She looked stunned, like someone just flipped the script of a movie she thought she was directing. Finally, she stood, grabbed her purse, and walked out in silence. And that was the first real win. Jessica didn't take the week. She was out in 3 days. No drama. No scene. Just silence. Maybe she finally understood that the bold mark she used to manipulate was gone. Or maybe she thought if she left quietly, she'd buy herself some kind of favor later. Either way, I watched her pack what she could into the back of her SUV. Designer bags. Dresses. A box of perfume bottles. Not a single photo of us. Not even the framed wedding picture she used to keep by the bedside. She didn't look back. Good. I wasn't just purging her from the house. I was cleansing every part of my life. I changed the locks. Cancelled the joint credit cards. Cleaned out our shared social media accounts. Deleted every damn happy memory that was now nothing more than a mask over betrayal. Then I did something most people would call crazy. I booked a dinner reservation. Alone. The best steakhouse in the city. Private table. Just me. Because I needed to celebrate the death of the illusion. That night, I ordered her favorite wine and raised a glass to the version of me that tolerated being disrespected, ignored, humiliated. That guy was dead. Buried. And in his place was someone far more dangerous, someone with clarity, focus, and zero patience for lies. Then karma stepped in. The next day, I got a message on Instagram from an account I didn't recognize. Are you Jessica's husband? I hesitated. Then replied, X. Who's asking? He sent a video. I swear, I thought I'd seen everything. But this? It was Brandon, shirtless, sitting on a hotel bed, crying, while Jessica screamed at him off camera. Something about how he wasn't man enough, how she wasted her time, and how she could have any guy she wanted. The guy I nearly punched in my kitchen was now sobbing like a kid who lost his favorite toy. The message followed. She told me you two were separated. Said you were abusive. I believed her. I just found out the truth yesterday from one of her old friends. I'm sorry, man. You didn't deserve this. That was the first time I laughed in weeks. It was happening. Her little empire of lust, lies, and manipulation was starting to collapse. All the men she lined up like trophies? They were waking up. Realizing they weren't special, they were pawns. Just like I had been. The difference was, I escaped the board. Later that night, Jessica texted me. Hey. I know you said not to reach out. But, can we talk? I left it on read. She texted again 3 hours later. I made a mistake. You were right. I don't recognize myself anymore. Still nothing. The next day. Please. Just let me explain. I'll do anything. You know what I did? I screenshotted every message and dropped them in the same folder with all the rest. Evidence. Not for revenge, but for power. The kind you carry quietly. The kind that keeps your spine straight when the past tries to slither back in. She was unraveling. Her friends started calling me. People who once took her side were suddenly just checking in. The whispers had begun. Turns out when you burn enough bridges, eventually you end up alone in the dark. By the end of that week, I heard from Madison. Yes, that Madison. Her best friend. The one who'd covered for her a dozen times. She called me, voice shaky. I know you don't owe me anything, she started. But I wanted to say. I'm sorry. For lying. For helping her. I thought I was protecting her. But she's not who I thought she was. No kidding. She continued, Jessica's changed. She's spiraling. She told me you were breaking down, but I saw your post the other day. You look fine. Better than fine. Damn right I was. And that's when I knew. Jessica wasn't just losing me. She was losing control. And once people like her lose control, they start getting dangerous. It happened on a Wednesday. The same day I closed on the apartment I'd secretly been negotiating behind her back. A sleek, top-floor unit with blackout windows, granite counters, and a skyline view Jessica would have sold her soul for. That day marked a shift. I wasn't just surviving the fallout anymore. I was building again. Without her. That night, I got a call from a blocked number. I let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, a message popped up. Mark. I need to talk. It's important. Please. Her voice was strained. Desperate. I poured a whiskey, sat down, and listened again. Then again. Every word soaked in panic. So I called her back. What? I said flatly. There was silence for a few seconds. Then she said, I think someone's following me. I raised an eyebrow. You sure it's not just another one of your boyfriends dropping by uninvited? She didn't laugh. I'm serious. There's been a car outside my condo for 2 nights. Same one. Black Lexus. Tinted windows. I don't know who it is, but it's creeping me out. I took a sip of my drink. Call the cops. I'm calling you, she said, her voice trembling. Because I don't know who else to trust. That was rich. Jessica had finally run out of backup dancers, and now she was looking at the stage she'd burned and realized she was standing in ashes, alone. Still, something in her tone struck me. It wasn't just panic. It was fear. Real fear. And that's when I started wondering, what had she done now? I didn't say much. Just hung up after telling her to keep her doors locked. But the moment I set the phone down, my mind was racing. Could be Brandon, he had clearly gone from confident to unhinged. Or maybe Jake. I didn't care which one. All I knew was someone out there had gotten a taste of the same betrayal I had, and they weren't taking it as well. 2 days later, I got an email from a burner account. Subject line: "You should see what your wife's been up to lately." Attached was a series of photos, Jessica, meeting with a guy in a parking garage. But it wasn't Brandon. Or Jake. This guy was older. Looked like someone's boss. Expensive watch. Bald. Probably married. There were more photos, her slipping into the passenger seat of his BMW, laughing, tossing her hair like the pro she'd become. And the final image? Her walking out of a hotel 2 hours later. Alone. Hair messy. Lips smudged. No caption needed. That black Lexus she was afraid of? It wasn't random. It was the guy's wife. I did some digging. Took 20 minutes to find out he was a VP at a finance firm downtown. Married. 2 kids. And a reputation to protect. Jessica, true to form, had graduated from side pieces to married men. She didn't just cheat, she specialized in it. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even shocked. I was impressed, in the worst way possible. She had no off switch. And now, it looked like she was getting a taste of her own chaos. She called me again that night. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. "Mark, please. I'm scared. Someone's been messaging me from fake accounts. Threatening stuff. I think someone's going to hurt me." I stared at the screen for a long time. Was she lying? Trying to pull me back in? Or had she finally pissed off someone worse than me? Either way, I wasn't stepping in. She chose this life. She fed it. Watered it. Watched it grow. Now it was turning on her. All I had to do was watch. And wait. Because I knew something was coming. Something she wouldn't see until it was too late. Saturday morning, my phone lit up at 6:41 a.m. Another call from her. I didn't answer. Then came the texts, one after another, unhinged, frantic. "Mark, please. They slashed my tires. I don't feel safe in my own home. This is serious. They're threatening to leak stuff. Mark, I need your help. Please just talk to me. You're the only one who can fix this." I lay in bed staring at the screen. Calm. Detached. The man who once would have jumped in his car at 2 a.m. for her was gone. Buried under every lie, every betrayal, every sneaky night she thought I didn't know about. Now she was facing consequences, and finally learning the difference between danger and drama. That afternoon, Madison messaged me again. "Did you hear about Jess?" I replied, "What now?" "Someone leaked videos of her. From the hotel. It's all over this private Facebook group. Her job saw it. Clients are canceling. I think she's about to get fired." I didn't respond. Not because I didn't care, but because I did. In the coldest, cleanest way possible. This was the natural outcome of what she built. Jessica didn't just cheat. She collected men. Like trophies. Thought she could juggle lives and emotions without consequence. Thought she was too smart, too pretty, too manipulative to ever get caught. But the world isn't that forgiving. People talk. Screenshots surface. And secrets? They always rot their way to daylight. Sunday, she showed up. Pounded on my door like it was on fire. I opened it halfway. Her eyes were swollen. Hair a mess. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Can I come in?" she asked, voice raw. "No." She flinched. Like I'd slapped her. "Mark, please. They sent stuff to my job. They sent it to my MOM. I'm being harassed." "I didn't send anything," I said. "You made those videos. You met those men. You built this." I just walked away. "But you don't understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly," I cut in. "You thought you were invincible. You thought you'd get your little 6-month vacation and come crawling back when you were done. But now the people you used are turning on you. And you want a rescue. She looked stunned. No one else will even talk to me, she whispered. I lost my job. My phone won't stop buzzing. I can't eat. I can't sleep. I'm being destroyed. Good. That landed like a punch. You deserve to be destroyed, Jessica, I said coldly. Not because you cheated. Not even because you lied. But because you never thought you'd be caught. Because you stepped on people who loved you. Because you acted like your pleasure was more important than anyone's dignity. She tried to speak, but the words never made it out. Her lip trembled. For the first time since all this started, I saw it. Not the manipulative mask. Not the fake tears. Real fear. And you know what? It felt good. She reached out, one last move in her dying game. I still love you, Mark, she whispered. Somewhere deep down. I do. I looked her dead in the eyes. I don't. Then I shut the door. And I swear, I felt lighter. Like I'd just removed the last weight I didn't know I was still carrying. Outside, I heard her sob. But inside? It was silent. Peaceful. Because the storm she built was finally drowning her, and I was safe on dry land. It's been 3 months since I last saw her. No calls. No messages. Just silence. Jessica faded like a bad dream, loud, chaotic, unforgettable, but gone. And for the first time in years, I can breathe without wondering where she is, who she's with, or what new lie she's spinning. The anxiety that used to sit in my chest like a brick has disappeared. All that's left now is clarity. I heard through a mutual friend, well, more like a former friend of hers, that she moved out of the city. Quietly. No goodbye posts. No dramatic exit. Just gone. Word is, she tried starting fresh somewhere else, but her name kept following her like a bad smell. Too many burned bridges. Too many screenshots floating around. You can't outrun the truth. Her last attempt at contact came in the form of an email. Subject, closure. I stared at it for a full hour before I opened it. Inside, it wasn't long. No fake apologies. No begging. Just a few lines that stuck with me. You were right. About everything. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even expect you to read this. I just wanted to say that I finally understand what I lost. And I'll carry that with me for the rest of my life. There was a time when reading those words would have cracked me. Now? I didn't feel hate. I didn't feel pity. I felt nothing. And that was the greatest victory. Because healing doesn't come from revenge. It comes from indifference. When you finally stop bleeding for someone who wouldn't have flinched watching you die emotionally, that's when you win. I moved on. New place. New job. New gym. New mindset. I even started dating again, slowly. No rush. Just getting to know women without baggage, without secrets. And you know what I've realized? I was never the problem. I gave everything to someone who only knew how to take. And when they were done taking, they blamed me for being empty. Jessica didn't break me. She revealed me. She revealed how much pain I could handle without breaking. How much betrayal I could absorb without becoming bitter. How much I could lose and still stand taller than I ever did. If you're a man reading this right now, and you're going through the same thing, listen to me. Don't chase her. Let her run. Because the woman who betrays you once, will betray you again. Not always with another man, but with herself. With her choices. With her lack of accountability. You don't heal by fixing her. You heal by fixing you. Cut her off. Build your life. Get stronger, physically, mentally, emotionally. Let her watch from the sidelines, knowing she gave up the one man who would have moved mountains for her. And when she comes back, and believe me, they always try, you'll already be long gone. Because real men don't wait in burning houses. They walk out. And then they rebuild, brick by brick, without the match that lit the fire in the first place. As for Jessica, she had her 6 months of fun. And I gave her a lifetime of regret. She wanted an open marriage. Now she's wide open to a life without me. And me? I've never been more closed off to her, or more open to everything she never deserved.